everybody, my name is Megan.
And I'm Cody.
And welcome back to the New Heights Kids YouTube channel. Today we are going to be doing a fun Noah's Ark themed craft. So, this is what it's going to look like. We're going to make our Noah's Ark with our animals in it, and then we're going to end up coloring it, putting a little rainbow on it. It's going to look pretty neat. So, let's get into our video.
Okay, so we're gonna need to gather our supplies for the craft. We're gonna need a paper plate, whatever size you need. We're gonna need a sheet of paper. We need a few different securing devices. We're probably gonna use all three, but you can mix and match however you need. So we have a stapler, some glue sticks, some tape. We're gonna use all of those. You need some sort of coloring utensils. So we have markers, you can use colored pencils or crayons or paint or whatever. You need some scissors. And then we also got some pencils just to help us do some outlining and stuff that we'll get into later.
All right, everybody, so the first thing that we need to do is to take our paper plate and we're gonna need to cut it in half. You can either eyeball it or you can draw a line and cut on the line, but whatever you wanna do. So we're just gonna cut it in half. So your plate is gonna look something like this. So this is going to be our boat. And for the second part of this boat, we're going to be needing that other half of your paper plate. So on the ark, we have a little roof right here. So that's what our other part of the paper plate is going to be. So we're just going to cut our paper plates in the size of a roof that we want. And the way I cut it is I just kind of took it and cut straight up on both sides.
All right, mine I made little edges on the sides.
So what we're going to end up doing is we're going to take our roof and we're either going to staple it or glue it or tape it, whatever you guys have, and we're going to put it right there. So you can put it either in the center, on the side, whatever you want, and we're going to stick it to the bottom part of our plate.
Now it's important to remember that the story of Noah is in the book of Genesis, which is the first book of the Bible. Now, pretty much how it starts off is there's a bunch of people on earth and Noah. And Noah is seen as the only righteous man on earth. So everyone else was wicked. Everyone else was so bad and full of sin, and God knew that. And so God instructed Noah to go around the whole earth and to instruct them to turn to God, to repent of their sin and to turn to Him. And in fact, nobody did at all, actually. They all thought he was crazy. They all thought he was mad and was lying. And so no one ended up being saved. And the only people on earth that were saved were Noah and his family. And so because no one could be saved other than Noah and his family, God had said that He's going to send a giant flood on the earth and it's going to destroy everything. All living creatures, animals and humans, as well as everything. The whole land, the whole landscape of the earth is all just going to change. And so, because of that, God instructed Noah to build an ark.
Which is what we just did here. So the next part of the Noah's Ark story is that he had to gather all of the land animals. Every single type of animal that was on the land had to come onto the ark. And they had to be 2 of them. So we have to go ahead and make some animals to put on our ark. So you're going to want to take another sheet of paper and take a pencil, and you're going to want to draw just kind of an outline of whatever animal that you want. And then we're going to cut it out and we're going to put it onto the ark. So I think I'm going to do the same thing I did on here. I'm going to make some panda bears, some giraffes, and a lion. What are you going to do, Cody?
Well, I'm going to start with a couple penguins and we're going to go from there.
So here's a fun fact that you might not know. Noah was 600 years old when the earth flooded.
That's very old.
It is very old. Can you imagine living up to 600 years? That's a very long time. So here are the outlines of my giraffes. So after you're done cutting out your animals, if you want to add a little more detail to them, color them, now is the time that you're going to want to do it before we add them to the ark.
Now, once Noah had finished the ark and all of the animals and his family were on side, it says that he closed the door and sealed it shut, and then the rain began, and the fountains of the deep started to burst open, and land was moved, and water came from everywhere. Now, the rain happened for 40 days and 40 nights. It was continuously raining. Now, the flood itself kept going for about 150 days total.
And the waters were so deep, it covered the highest mountain. Because the waters were so high, only Noah and everyone else who was on the ark had survived.
Now, to see when it would be safe or when land arrived, Noah would release some birds outside to see if they would bring back any food or plants or anything like that. So it says that he released a dove and it came back and it was empty-handed. So they knew the dove probably flew around a bunch of the earth and realized that there was nothing but water and it couldn't land, it couldn't bring anything back. So it just came back to the ship. Now it says he sent it out a second time. And the second time, it brought back a olive branch, or they sometimes say just like an olive leaf. And so it obviously came from a plant, which means there was a plant that had, started to grow. And so that means there was land somewhere, but the bird didn't stay at the land. So it wasn't, good enough, or maybe there wasn't enough food or anything there yet, but it was close. And then it says that Noah sent out the dove a third time, and it never came back. So essentially what that means is, well, the bird found land, it was like, boom, this is the best nesting place ever, and it stayed there. And so Noah knew, there we go, land is somewhere, so now it is safe to find a place to exit the ark.
So after that, all they had to do was wait until they eventually got to the land and until the water got low enough for them to actually walk onto the land.
Now I am done cutting out my animals, I just have to color them now, but I got a couple elephants, I got some giant lizards. Maybe they're more like dinosaur. They're dinosaur sized.
Maybe they're alligators.
They could be alligators. They're just giant lizards. And then I got two little penguins right here. So I'm going to color them now.
Okay. And then I have, like I showed you before, my giraffes, but I added their little spots on them. And then I have two panda bears, because panda bears are my absolute favorite animal. And then I am currently working on some lions, which are my second favorite animal.
So I decided to not completely color in my elephants, but make them, kind of have some gray accent colors there. I decided, of course, to color the big lizard thingies green. And then I have my two little penguins, which I know might be really hard to see right now, but once we put them on the paper, you should be able to see them.
And here are my lions.
Now, if you happen to be close or being done with your animals, this is the perfect time for you to now essentially color parts of your ark however you would like. What we'll end up doing is taping, gluing, stapling, etc. the animals to the ark, and so once they're on there, it's going to be a little bit difficult to color parts of the ark. So yeah, if you want to color any of the top part or even just the whole ark, make little doors or windows, whatever you want. Alright, and here's my ark, and I made just one big giant door on the top. Okay, so now I'm going to put my animals onto my ark. Now, I was trying to think of the best way to do this. Now you can staple them, glue them, of course you can tape it. I think what I'm going to do is going to flip the ark over. I want my two lizards to be on this side right here. So I'm going to flip it over, and I think I'm going to take some tape and tape them from behind so then the tape doesn't show on the front. So I went ahead and kind of taped the back side of the lizards right here. So then on the front, they look like that. So they kind of look like they're cheering for joy almost. Woohoo, we made it on the ark.
Yay!
Now my two penguins are just gonna go on the front, so I think I'm just gonna glue those.
And here's my ark. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my animals on there as well.
So I decided to put my two penguins next to the door up there.
So here are my giraffes and panda bears. All I gotta do left is put on my lions.
Alright, and there's my two elephants up on the side next to my penguins up there. I put the trunk behind the penguin because it was in front of the penguin and it looks like it was kind of smacking him in the face. So I decided to do it behind. Now once Noah had made it to dry land, all of the animals and Noah and his family exited the ark, and he had instructions from God to just go and multiply and essentially reestablish the earth, repopulate the earth with humans and of course all of the animals. And so he kind of just sent them on their way. They created their own towns and villages and multiplied until, the earth we have today.
Okay, now, the next thing we have to do is we have to staple our ark onto our sheet of paper. We want to put that about halfway onto the paper, because below we're going to put some sea, and at the top we're going to draw a beautiful rainbow, which God put in the sky to promise that he would never, ever flood the earth again.
So I went ahead and used the stapler and stapled it here, and down here. There's the water that I have below the ark.
And here's my water. So the last thing we have to do is draw that rainbow.
And so I decided to do my rainbow kind of coming out of the middle here and off to the side. I drew a couple clouds in the sky as well.
And here's my ark. And my rainbow right here. All right, and here's one more look at our final products of the ark. All right, well, that's all we have for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining us and making these awesome arks with us. As always, if you guys decided to go along with us and make your own ark, please take a photo of it and tag us on our social media at NHKidsAZ, because we would love to see your creations. All right, well, we'll see you next time.
Bye.